Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hope the screen
Good
is
morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Hope the screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, done.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So yesterday we talked about operator precedence parsing as one of the technique under syntax analysis. As you know, we have three techniques: operator precedence parsing, shift reduce parsing, and recursive descent parsing. So operator precedence parsing was discussed under a bottom-up approach, wherein we try to figure out by using three symbols. One is lesser precedence, higher precedence, and equal precedence. And to differentiate between normal mathematical operators, this lesser, higher, and equal precedence operators or symbols are used with a dot in between, so that there will not be any confusion with respect to mathematical symbols of the same type. So from the bottom-up approach, we go to the internal or inner operators rather, where we identify to check out with a pair of operators from left to right between their precedence level. If it is less than, we write less than. If it is higher, we write greater than. If it is equal, we write equal. And prior to that, a table of precedence relation might have been created with us. And using that, we'll try to figure out. So once that identification of precedence is done, next step is to go to the inner possibility and make sure whether any operator falls with or in between the lesser and higher precedence. If a particular symbol or a particular input that we have in hand falls between lesser and higher symbol, then we say that that particular symbol is part of the valid grammar. Or if you have an equal operator symbol, then also we say it is a part of the grammar. Anything other than that, meaning that if that pair of symbols are not properly bounded with the lesser and higher precedence, then we say that that particular grammar is invalid grammar. This is how we have seen in the previous class, and we have taken a Pascal grammar for that particular point of discussion, and we have identified read statement as part of that. Now let us take another statement, which is like this: an assignment statement in Pascal. Variance is equal to sum SQ divided 100 minus mean into mean. This is some statement. We need to check whether this statement is a valid statement or not. So what is input for us? This is the input. So whatever grammar we have here is input for us. This is an example of an assign statement. You see somewhere assign here. Here there is assign. Line number 9 is going to be assign statement. This assignment statement is what? ID equal to expression. ID equal to expression. What is expression? Expression can be a term which is a non-terminal because there is a angle bracket here, or it can be expression plus terminal, or it can be expression minus terminal. Here all are undefined because they are all non-terminal. Further term can be defined. What is a term? Term can be a factor, or it can be term into a factor, or it can be term divided by factor. In this again, factor is not defined yet. So what is a factor? Factor can be an ID or an integer, or it can be expression itself. So like this, we have a definition of assignment statement in terms of 9, 10, 11, and 12 points here. And it finally culminates with either an ID or an integer. Now, given this input or a grammar, we need to verify if this particular expression or the assignment statement variance is equal to sum SQ divided by 100 minus mean into mean is a valid grammar as far as the operator precedence parsing process is concerned. Now, to do that, don't worry, we will be showing some diagrams now. How they have been done, we have to understand, because this is an example to understand how operator precedence parsing is carried out. Okay, fine. So what is the basis for this? That matrix what I have taken in yesterday, the relation between various grammar elements what we have in the rules. Okay, the same matrix is required here as well, but we are not going in deep how they have been mapped, but we'll observe how this bottom up is going to be used in this operator precedence parsing. So these are the diagrams what we have. We have two slides here. So starting from the first one, this is step one, like this we have stepwise. So first duty is to assign these values, that is less than, greater than, and all. How do we get this? We get this from a matrix what is already created. Like this, we write for all the possible elements we have in this particular input. Now, how do you say it is a bottom-up approach? If you observe this, how the diagram is built now, slowly the diagram is built from the bottom. See, we have two things, some SQ 100, some SQ division 100, some SQ division 100 mean like that. All the leaf nodes have been constructed here. If you see here, they're all leaf nodes because there is no angle brackets. If you come like this, at the end, we are going to close. So from the bottom values, we're trying to go to the top one, that is from leaf nodes to the main node or the root node. Thereby, we say that it is a operator precedence parsing, which is coming under the bottom-up approach. And that's what we have done in the previous example as well. We start putting or recognizing each element of the input as part of the is a lesser or higher or equal precedence. Later, we try to resolve whether they fall into the category of whatever we know that as a grammar rules or not. If they fall, then we say they are valid. If they're not falling, we say they are invalid. Even in the examination, if they ask you, this table need to be given to you. This table means that matrix, what is given, then only people will be able to answer this. If the table is not given, if the matrix is not given, you need not be worried. What we can do is, we can start constructing this, because this they would have given. This table, this particular data they would have given. Using this, you start constructing from a bottom-up approach. So if you look at here, let us look at the final diagram, which contains the expression, that is variance is equal to sum SQ divided by 100 minus mean into mean. So ID is equal to expression. That is what we have a assignment statement. Let us see. What is assignment statement? ID is equal to expression. So this is valid. So here also ID is equal to, that is variance is equal to expression. So this prima facie, the first assignment statement is valid. Next, what do we have? Assignment statement can be like this. Then what is expression? Expression can be either a term alone, or it can be expression plus term, or expression minus term, or meaning that term plus term, term minus term. What is a term? Term can be a factor, or it can be integer. So finally, it can be an ID, that is a variable, or it can be an integer, using either star or division or minus or plus. If we can use these things, then that becomes a expression. That is the meaning here. Let us see what we have here. So in this case, we have a sum SQ, which is an ID, followed by division, which is a variable for you, that is ID again, 100, which is an integer. So this is a valid now. This entire group is a valid group, because we have ID divided by 100, because it is a factor here. What is a factor? Factor term can be division or multiplication. We have followed that. Next, we have minus symbol, which is also part of the grammar. Then followed by mean, which is an ID, another mean, which is an ID. Both of them are multiplied together. So this becomes a sub-expression, another sub-expression. Both are joined by minus symbol. So that, which is also valid here as far as the definition of expression is concerned. Expression minus term. So like that. Once everything is over, this entire thing you put together is going to be considered as an expression. So ID equal expression put together is our assignment statement. So we have built this. If, as you observe here, the construction of this particular tree is from bottom-up approach. That's what the operator precedence rule status. Accordingly, the tree has been constructed. We have to show step-by-step process. That is a point what we have to keep in mind. The left-hand side, it can be written only if we have the matrix in hand. So in the exam, they might give matrix, they might not give. 100% matrix cannot be printed in the question paper. So what they can ask you is, probably by giving this, maybe 9, 10, 11, 12 statements they will give. By giving this, they might ask you to construct a operator precedence tree. In that case, you cannot write this left-hand part, because these values are not known to us. But what you can do, you can construct the tree like this. But only thing is, you should know if it is operator precedence parsing, it is a bottom up. If it is a shift reduce parsing, it is a bottom up. If it is a recursive descent parsing, it is a top down. The differentiation, if you know, we can construct the tree properly. Because in other case, it will be top down, where we'll write this tree first, that is the top tree first, then we'll come down to the bottom. So if you do the reverse process, you may lose the mark. So what is the crux here is, you should understand when they say operator precedence parsing, what type of technique it is. It is a bottom-up approach or a top-down approach. That confusion should not be there with you. You should have a clarity. So out of the three things what we are looking here now, operator precedence parsing and shift reduce parsing fall under the bottom-up approach. Only one that we see under top-down approach is the recursive descent. As the name says, recursive descent. Descend in English means fall. Fall means top to bottom. So that is only consideration what we can keep in mind to avoid confusion. So recursive descent parsing is what you can consider as a top-down approach. Remaining two are going to be bottom-up approaches. This is a operator precedence parsing. In the exam, they will be asking questions like this. They give a statement, then they will ask you to construct a parse tree, or they will ask you to construct a whatever possible in this given context. So this is what we have to understand, how to construct a parse tree. But what is required for you? The rule should be given to you like this. Later, if it is a parse tree, from operator precedence part of view, they should give a matrix. If matrix is not given, this part you will not be able to write, but this part you should be able to write. So construct the tree. How the way you construct the tree is what people will be interested to know, whether you construct a bottom-up approach or a top-down approach. Based on that, the examiner will understand whether you have a clarity of what approach you are having in each of these techniques. So be careful about the which technique is being used under what approach. If that clarity is there, we can construct the tree at any point of time. So any confusion with this? This is probably operator precedence parsing. If you have no confusion, we can move to the next technique. So any doubts in the operator precedence parsing till so far? If you have no doubts, we'll move to the next topic. Okay. Fine. So next is shift reduce parsing. Shift reduce parsing. So before we go to the shift reduce parsing, let me show some small video so that if you can understand what it is. Is the screen visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. This is just an example. Just observe what is going to happen. Now we have a stack on the left side. So whenever somebody is talk about shift reduction, this is nothing but a stack where we have a push and pop. And just observe, this is the input string. This is a rule what they are asking. These are the grammars. On the right hand side, what you see is a grammar, EXPR, EXPR and all, that is a grammar. The input is given like this. Whether this input can be identified as a valid or not. Okay. So first. So what is happening now? Just observe. So input is given. So some action is being done. What is that action? Shift action. Shift means push into the stack. Reduce means pop from the stack. That's all we need to understand. Just observe one by one how the arrows are moving, how the data is getting pushed, or how the data is getting converted rather, or how the data is getting popped. So this is the first step. Second. So what happened? We have identified num as one of the eligible data. We have pushed into the stack. So that is nothing but shifting into the stack. If you remove something, if you pop something from the stack, we say it is reduced. So we are so far we are pushed. Observe when we are going to reduce. Okay, now everything is shifted beginningly in the initial stage. Okay, now we are reducing. What is the reduce here? Num is identified as one of the language constructs, which is highlighted here as a EXPR. So num can be replaced by a EXPR. So anything that you are replacing as a contents of your stack, that can be considered as a reduce. Next, we'll see after something we reduce by popping as well. We'll see how it is going to be. Now, so num was there, it is replaced by EXPR. That means every input what we have is getting converted in terms of the grammar, because once you convert into the grammar, then we can map the grammar as per the grammar rules and we can say it is a valid or not. So input is reduced into the names of the grammar or the context of the grammar. Okay, now after num is over, then what is next in pipeline? Star. So star need to be pushed into the stack, that is shift. So star is shifted now. So once star is shifted, is there anything for star here on the right hand side? Do you see any possible relation with respect to star?
OP is operator.
OP is there, meaning that it is a operator. As we did for num, num was pushed, shifted. Later it got reduced into EXPR. Similarly, star is pushed and you see some connection with star here. So what will happen now? Next stage will be reduce, isn't it? Because star has a compatible grammar rule that becomes an operation that got reduced now. So after that, what is left now? Parenthesis, that is left parenthesis, that also will be shifted now. So left parenthesis is shifted. There is no direct mapping. There is a mapping for left parenthesis followed by expression followed by right parenthesis, but alone left parenthesis cannot be mapped, so it cannot be reduced. Now we'll go to the next input. What is the next input? Num. So num will be shifted. So how num is going to be shifted? In the same case as we did. So and we know num is going to be EXPR, it will be reduced. So it is reduced now. Next we have another input called a plus, and plus will be shifted now, and plus also is a OP here, and plus will be reduced now. So plus will be reduced into OP. After that we have a num. Again num will be shifted into the stack, pushed into the stack. There num is there, but num is again EXPR, it will be reduced to EXPR. Later we are left with a right parenthesis, and right parenthesis is also be shifted now. So in this case, when we have a num plus num, num plus num, num plus num is one of the possible here, because EXPR is nothing but EXPR, OP, EXPR. What is OP here? It can be plus, it can be minus, it can be star. So when I see EXPR plus EXPR, it becomes EXPR, or EXPR minus EXPR, that also can be shifted as EXPR, or EXPR multiplication EXPR, that also can be considered as a EXPR. Since we have a num plus num, which is a EXPR operation EXPR, which is going to be further converted and shifted here. So if you look at the previous diagram, we have a EXPR, OP, EXPR. So that will be replaced, reduced now completely into single EXPR. That's what we have seen here. Agree? Now we are left with a right parenthesis. Right parenthesis will be shifted now. When right parenthesis is shifted, again left parenthesis, EXPR, right parenthesis can be converted into EXPR. So that's what we have done now. So once that is done, we are left with EXPR operation EXPR. That also becomes a EXPR. So entire input now finally ends with a EXPR. EXPR being the top grammar or the main grammar, then meaning that whatever the input we have given is finally culminating with the or mapping with the main grammar rule what we have. Thereby I can say that after everything is over, this is a valid input what we have given. Thereby it is accepted. So that is the idea behind how shift reduce parser is going to work. Meaning that whatever the input we have, that input need to be pushed initially into the stack one after the other. As we push, we have to consider or convert or find a mapping of this input if there is any grammar rule that can be mapped. So as and when they get mapped, we will be reducing that input and converting into the actual grammar, and that process continues. How long? Every time when data is pushed onto the stack, we'll check whether any data can be further reduced into the grammar. So ultimately, we want only one main grammar rule coming into the stack. If that is there and we have reached the end of the input, then we can say that our entire shift reduce parser is a valid parser. I mean, shift reduce parser has given a valid input for us. Else, either input is not completed or input is over, but we have not reached that main grammar rule in the stack, then we say that whatever the input we have given is an invalid input. That is the idea behind what we have. Okay. So this is about the shift reduce parser. So any doubts here? You want me to repeat once again? Are able to understand? Shift reduce parser. Fine. I will stop here. Go back to our presentation. Fine. So that is the idea behind shift reduce parsing. So we have seen operative precedence parsing earlier, which is a bottom-up approach. This is also a bottom-up approach, meaning that one after the other we are going to construct. Finally, we reach the top level grammar. When you reach the final grammar at the end, we say it is a bottom-up approach. So bottom-up approach means from the inner circle, from the inner values, we slowly grow and make sure that we meet or reach the final grammar or the main grammar, which is a non-terminal symbol. We say it is a bottom-up approach. That's what we have seen here in the shift reduce parsing also, which is an example of a bottom-up approach. Okay. So both operative precedence and as well as shift reduce are the two techniques we have under the bottom-up parsing technique. And in shift reduce parsing, we have seen that stack was used as a data structure. For every input that we see that gets shifted into the stack, meaning that it will be pushed. During that time, the data will be checked every time whether whatever the data as we have in the stack can be further reduced into one of the grammar rules. Every time it will be checking. If it is not possible, then it will try to take one more input from the input string. So like that, every time when a shift operation is over, the system or if the compiler will always check, is it possible to convert the contents of the stack at any point of time into one of the existing grammar rules. If it is possible, that gets reduced. Otherwise, shifting only will continue. Ultimately, once the entire input is over, we are interested to get only a final grammar, which is a main grammar, which is the topmost level grammar as part of the stack. If we can reach that, we say that the given input is a valid input. If we have not reached, then probably we say the given input is an invalid input. So mainly two activities are there in the shift reduce parsing. One is for shifting, that is input will be pushed onto the stack, and based on their relation with the existing grammar rule, they will be reduced. So either shift or a reduce action or activity is going to take place in the shift reduce parsing. So shift means we push the data onto the stack. Reduce means we recognize whatever the data we have pushed onto the stack as one of the grammar rules. As and when they materialize into the matching of that grammar, we try to reduce. Once that is over, we almost do. Reduce, if you observe, it was like a pop only. We combine 2-3 data, which is popped and replaced by another grammar, which is part of. So reduce more or less matches with the pop activity or a pop action or a pop concept of a stack. So stack is important as far as the shift reduce concept of parsing is concerned. Okay. This is what we have taken as example now. Let us take a is equal to 2 plus 3 in the similar lines what we have done here. So A is pushed onto the stack, and grammar is given here for us, which is an assignment statement. ID, exp, and very, very simple grammar has been given, not a grammar what you have taken in the textbook, because just to understand how shift reduce can be given. Even in the examination, if they ask you explain shift reduce parsing, you have to take a grammar of your own choice and start building this type of diagrams. And if you see, this is a bottom up approach. We have shifted A first. A cannot be mapped with anything. Okay, next we have mapped with equal to operator, and we have replaced equal operator. Then we have 2, then we have plus, then we have 3 during this time. So A is nothing but an ID, and 2 is nothing but an integer, plus is nothing but an operator, and another 3 is nothing but an integer. So integer plus integer is replaced by an expression, and expression plus expression is equal to another expression, and ID is equal to expression is the assignment statement. So since we have reached the final assignment statement, which is the highest level grammar, then we say that the given input is a valid input. So if you have any doubts here, please let me know how this is being built. So what is required for you? The grammar rules are required, and input string is required. When both are given to you, you can construct this, and this is a bottom-up approach of constructing the tree, which is a parse tree for the shift reduce parsing. Just let me know if you could understand, or else we'll discuss once again. I will go to the next topic. Meanwhile, let me take attendance. Asta? Asta? Abhinav? Aishwarya?
Present, sir.
Amrish?
Yes, sir.
Anu?
Present, sir.
Arbaz? Arjun? Ashok?
Present, sir.
Benita? Bhargavi?
Present, sir.
Avisha?
Present, sir.
Chaitra? Chatterjee? Diksha?
Present, sir.
Deepika LG? Deepika MB?
Present, sir.
Murali Krishna? Gangubai?
Present, sir.
Guriya Kumari?
Present, sir.
Harshit? Junjar Singh? Kavya?
Present, sir.
Kishore?
Present, sir.
Lata?
Yes, sir.
Manisha?
Present, sir.
Manjunath?
Yes, sir.
Nayana?
Present, sir.
Nilanjan?
Yes, sir.
Nishant? Pavitra?
Present, sir.
Maithili?
Present, sir.
Priyanka?
Present, sir.
Pavan? Akash?
Present, sir.
Rajeshwari?
Present, sir.
Rakesh?
Present, sir.
Ramya?
Present, sir.
Rashmi?
Present, sir.
Ravi Shankar?
Yes, sir.
Rizwan?
Present, sir.
Vishal?
Present, sir.
Savita?
Yes, sir.
Shruti?
Present, sir.
Sneha?
Yes, sir.
Spurti?
Present, sir.
Srinidhi?
Present, sir.
Srinivas?
Present, sir.
Sunil?
Present, sir.
Vaishnavi?
Present, sir.
Vinny?
Sir, Deepika LG present, sir. Sir, Chaitra is present, sir.
Okay, okay,
So Benita present, sir.
okay.
Sir, Chaitra Deepika LG, sir.
ಓಕೆ, ದೀಪಿಕಾ MBA ಆಯ್ತು.
LG sir.
LGನೂ ಆಯ್ತಮ್ಮ.
Sir Chaitra.
ಆಯ್ತು. Okay, so take some grammar here. Let me see how you can build a shift reduce parsing. Okay, the expression is same as this. What we have here, this is the expression. There is a grammar. You can have this grammar. The input is A is equal to 10 plus 20 minus 30. A is equal to 10 plus 20 minus 30. You try to build shift reduce parsing for this and let me know if it is a valid or invalid. So I will come out of the presentation. Those whoever can do can show me the presentation. So you can copy this. Assign is equal to ID equal to exp. So how assignment statement is defined? ID is equal to exp. Then what is exp? Exp plus exp or integer int. And present those who have done. Anyone else? Who else will be able to do that? I need some inputs. If you keep quiet, it's just waste of time, nothing else.
Just doing, sir.
Okay. Is it taking too much time? Just writing one diagram. Where are you stuck? What is the issue? least one of you.
So shall I present?
Yes, yes.
So is my screen visible?
1 second. It's buffering. It's not clear.
So now.
So, okay. Fine. Okay, leave it. So A is equal to 10.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, is it valid or invalid?
Valid, sir.
Valid, okay. So
I
A is
forgot to
equal
write
to...
valid.
Hmm?
I forgot to write valid.
It's okay, but go back to the grammar. What are the grammar rules? Where you have written grammar rules?
Sir, I took a screenshot and I did.
Can you read that? What is the grammar?
Expression is equals to expression plus expression is equals to init.
No. First one is what? Assign. Assign.
ID is equal to
exp.
exp.
Then exp is?
exp plus exp operation exp.
Exp plus exp or?
exp minus exp or exp.
No. exp minus was there, huh?
No, sir. I forgot to write a grammar.
Minus was not there. exp plus exp or int.
Yes, sir.
Now let us see what is the diagram. So first A is pushed. A is nothing but an ID. Fine. Then equal to is pushed. Nothing can be done. 10.
10 is pushed.
Fourth diagram, ID equal is missing. Equal you cannot remove.
Yes,
ID
sir. Yes, sir.
equal
Equal
int.
is,
10 is replaced by int. Then we have plus followed by 20. 20 is int. Now int plus int is a exp. So diagram is now id equals exp. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But I read the final answer.
Yeah. Now you will get a minus.
Yes, sir.
So now id equals exp minus 30. So 30 is again int. So we have id exp minus id. So when you get like that, exp minus id, sorry, exp minus int, is it a valid grammar? No. There is no rule where we have exp minus exp. If there is exp minus exp, this would have become a valid grammar. So it stops there. So stack contains what now? Not only assign, sorry, it doesn't contain assign, but it contains something else. But we have reached end of the input. When I reach end of the input, my stack should be only one value. That value should be highest order grammar. It is assign. But we have not gone to assign it because minus is not part of our grammar. So this becomes a invalid grammar. Right? Yes. That's what the concept here is. So you should understand whatever is asked only is what we have to map. If it is not there, it becomes a invalid. So grammar is very important. So we should know the grammar, then only we should be able to write. I will take attendance again. I have seen 11 people not in the group. I will take now onwards maybe 10 minutes attendance. If this is the case, probably there is no point in taking classes. There are only 28 out of 39. So I will take attendance once again. Who are there only will be attendance will be given. Okay, fine. Next.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, in examination, they will give a grammar?
They will give grammar, yes. what we have given, no?
Okay, sir.
Assign is equal to ID is equal to expression, like that.
Okay, sir.
They
Okay.
give a grammar. So based on grammar only, we should be able to write. Without grammar, you cannot do anything. Okay.
Okay, sir. We
Take
thought
one-
like we have to keep in mind each and every grammar like that.
No. That's what you should not be able to see. Grammar is I can define right now. EXP. If you look at the textbook Pascal, it is given minus also, no? If you
Yes,
look at
sir, yes, sir.
EXP is nothing but plus, minus, multiplication, division, everything is given. But what I
Yes,
have
sir.
given, only plus. So like that, grammar can be anything. But whatever the grammar is given, for that grammar we have to write the tree. So grammar might be
Okay,
changing. Yes. Take one more now. Probably we can take the same input, that is assign is equal to ID is equal to EXP. Then we'll refine EXP to further. EXP is equal to EXP plus EXP or EXP multiplication EXP or int. We are just adding EXP with one more input, that is EXP multiplication EXP. Now the input string is y is equal to 20 plus 40 multiplication 60, 20 plus 40 multiplication 60 plus A plus A. So try for this.